What's up, 8th graders? Welcome to class 107. Today's topic is using the discriminant, okay? So the discriminant is a tool that I'll show you guys how to use. You know, like you use a hammer to hit nails, a screwdriver to turn, to rotate screws or whatever. Discriminant we're going to use as a tool that's very useful, actually. So this is how you spell it. Discriminant. Okay? Now, before we look at these three different examples, I want us to look at the quadratic formula really fast. So you guys all know it. You've used it so many times by now, by this time in the year. So we all know that it is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay. Now, we can only use this formula if we have an equation that is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, okay? So I'll just say right now, on your homework, don't try to do the problem until you have your equation in this form, okay? So here's, problems like that, like you'll see on the homework would be something like this. If I say find the discriminant, and then I also ask you guys to tell me the number of solutions, and I'll show you how to do that, how to find that. Let me get my laser pointer here. There we go. Before you find the discriminant, you need to do what? You need to move the 10, right? Because we want a 0 on the right. So you would do plus 10, simplify, and then you could find the discriminant, which I'll show you how to do right now. Some problems I give you possibly will already have it in the form we want, in which case you can go directly to finding the discriminant. The key is we always want ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? Okay, so now let me show you what is the discriminant specifically. The discriminant is really the value, let me change colors here. The discriminant is the value of b squared minus 4ac. So if you simplify just this part, then that will give you the discriminant, okay? So before I tell you why we need a discriminant, let's practice finding the discriminant in 3 little examples. So here we have 3 different equations, okay? And these are already all in this equation, this one, and this one are already in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we don't need to move any numbers before we use the quadratic formula. So in this formula, b squared minus 4ac, well, we have, let me make my pen skinnier. We know that a is 1, right? B is negative 6, and c is 3. Right, again, we have a is 1, b is negative 6, and then c is 9 in this case. B, c, and now the last one, we have a is 1, b is negative 6, and c is 12, okay? So now, I'm just going to do what they did here, okay? So don't worry, don't be afraid of seeing lots of numbers. They're just finding what is b squared minus 4ac. So we have b right here, b squared minus 4ac, right? And you simplify all that, and you get b squared minus 4ac is 24, right? Same thing here, b squared minus 4ac, simplify all that, you get 0, right? Feel free to pause and analyze these if you want. No problem with that. B squared minus 4ac, simplify, you get a negative 12. So let's make some observations here. In these 3 examples, we got different discriminants, right? In the first one, the discriminant is 24. It's a positive. That's important to remember that it's positive. In this case, the discriminant is 0. And in this case, the discriminant is negative 12, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the discriminant will tell you how many solutions your equation has. Now remember, the solutions to a quadratic equation are the places where it touches the x-axis. So right here, the solutions are, right here is 1, 2. So the solutions right here would be 0.5 is this first point, and then more or less 0.5. And then right here would probably be like, here's 4, 5. So it's probably like 5.3, 5.4 is the second point. So we have two solutions, right there, right? How many solutions do we have in the second graph? Well, the question is, how many times does it touch the x-axis? Only once. So there is only one solution, right? And in this case, how many times does this graph touch the x-axis? Remember, there's the x-axis. Well, it doesn't touch it, right? So the amount of times it touches the x-axis is 0 times. So there are no real solutions. I will tell you guys that there are imaginary solutions, but we're not going to be talking about imaginary numbers in this lesson. So if you have a graph that looks like that, for our purposes, the number of solutions is no solutions. Okay. Now let's make some more observations. In the first example, let me change colors again here. We're going to go yellow. Make it nice and fat. In this first example, was the discriminant positive, 0, or negative? Well, obviously positive, right? Positive 24. Now, when we got a positive number, how many solutions did that give us? It gave us 2 solutions, right? In the second example, what is the discriminant? It's exactly 0, okay? So the discriminant that is 0 will mean that there's only one solution to that equation, okay? And lastly, in the third example, the discriminant was positive, negative, or 0? Negative, right? Sorry, right there is the negative 12, okay? When the discriminant was negative, what did that tell you about the graph? It told you that the graph does not touch the x-axis, right? The graph is above it. So we can conclude that when the discriminant, in other words, b squared minus 4ac, when it's positive, then we will have 2 solutions. When it is 0, we will have 1 solution. And when the discriminant is negative, then we will have no real solutions. Okay? So that's how you use the discriminant. Just to review really fast, we know that from the quadratic equation, the discriminant is the part inside the square root, right? b squared minus 4ac is the discriminant. We can only find the discriminant after we have our equation in this form, okay? After we have it in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then we can find the discriminant. After we find the discriminant, we need to think about, okay, is it positive, is it 0, or is it negative? If it's positive, we have 2 solutions. If it's 0, we have 1 solution. And if it's negative, then we have no solutions. And with that, you guys, that is everything that you need to know in order to do the class 107 homework. So as always, read my clerical instructions carefully in Google Classroom to know what to do as far as homework and everything is concerned. And yeah, that's everything. See you guys next class.